Hey everyone, we're going to drink Mantang Hong Gongting. This is a 2011 Yunnan Sourcing production. Mantang Hong Gongting, just a little red seal here compared to the Mantang Hong Arha, which we just drank, which has a kind of a brown symbol and the character is Arha. This is a Gongting. It's a 2009 wet piling batch from Linsang and pressed in 2011. The first two the pressed at the same time as the Mantang Hong Arha, or Mantang Hong number 2. We just drank the Mantang Hong number 2, which was a 2007 batch. This is a wet pile batch. This is a 2009, but again pressed in 2011, so that makes it 8 years old. Wash here. Clogged up my pot. There we go. I kind of grabbed a lot of the stuff that was kind of hanging out in the wrapper. I tend to, when I break off chunks, I tend to do too much, so I end up always having a little bit of small stuff, but it's a combo of that and chunks. So get this going here. And I'm using 8 grams in the silver pot here. This is like a 120 milliliter pot. Fairly typical for me. You might not want to use as much if you like it a little, less strong. 8 grams and 120 milliliters is a lot. There's definitely people who use more, but not normal people. Got Lissy down here snoring away on her little bed. So nice tea soup, pretty similar to the Mantang Arha. Real clear, not super dark, not like a soy sauce, type tea soup or anything like that. It's totally clear. You could see the details of your hand through it. No, it happened. At least I didn't break my gaiwan. Still got enough for a cup, so we'll just keep going. So the first thing that's immediately apparent to me is the sweetness and the viscosity of this Gongting compared to the Arha. So again, the Arha is a grade 1 and a grade 3. So we call it number 2, so it's the average grade is grade 2. But the Gongting again, to remind everybody, or if you don't know, Gongting is the smallest leaf material. And this is probably not the finest Gongting that I've seen. It's actually one of the more coarser, slightly larger, still called Gongting, at least by this tea factory. But Gongting is the smaller leaf, and Gongting is also typically the more expensive of the ripe grades. So you have Gongting as being the smallest grade, then Teji, then Yiji, or grade 1, Sanji, or grade 2, Wuji, grade 5, Qiji, grade 7, Jiuji, grade 9. And so grade 9 would be quite large leaf. And then they have, like Zaoxianye, or kind of coarse, they call it date aroma, because when they're ripened, they have kind of a date-like aroma, and those being the largest. So Gongting is the smallest. Gongting always has an interesting character, and of course it depends on the material and depends on the fermentation batch, and it also depends a lot on the age, but Gongting tends to be sweet, really thick. When it's young, it can be really like heavy and pungent and just really like punchy, can kind of be overwhelming. Gongting typically is less infusible than some of the coarser leaf grades, which tend to hold up better. So what's often done is Gongting is blended with other teas, and it's typically kind of scattered on the face of the cake to give it a pretty look. Um, but it's become more and more popular just to press purely Gongting cakes because Gongting has such a unique and interesting character. And with age too, Gongting will also become more infusible. So when this is young, or a loose leaf Gongting, for instance, maybe 6-7 steeps, and it would lose most of its interesting characteristics. Ah, it's like drinking like a little bit of like fruit juice. There's like a really dried, fruity character to it that the Arhao, the number 2 that we just drank, just didn't have at all. This is also a different wet pile batch, 2 years newer. But this I haven't actually had for, I don't know, maybe a year or two, and it's really matured. I think it's really hit a sweet spot. I think it'll continue to mature and develop and be an interesting tea, but it's noticeably better than when I had it a year or maybe a year and a half ago. It has some of the characteristics of the Mantang Hong number 2, a little bit of that kind of camphory, woody taste, but there's also like this really, it's got more body, and there's more of like a viscous kind of taste to it, a viscous kind of mouthfeel to it. It's really nice to taste the tea developing along these lines. When I first pressed this tea back in 2011, it was a tea that I liked, and I just kind of went ahead and did it. I had a long-standing relationship with this particular tea factory, and they fermented teas. When actually the first wet piling that I ever saw, the wet piling or the manufacturing and processing of ripe pour was at their factory, and that really made an impression on me. And there, like I was saying in the previous video, if you haven't checked that out yet, the Mantang Hong number 2 video, there's just this tea has this tea factory's ripe tea really has its own distinct style, and I could drink this blind and I would just know what it is. Absolutely. So actually, it's darkened a bit. It's definitely got a little bit. It's not quite as clear as the Mantang Hong number 2. But I think what's going to happen here is that we're going to get a couple more really good solid steeps out of this, and it's going to start to kind of gracefully, hopefully, lose its power. But right now, this is really kind of like the, I don't know what it is with me today. All this strong, ripe pour has got me a little tea drunk. Yeah, anyways, let's give this a try. Lucy's over there. Lucy. She can't be bothered. She's having her early afternoon nap. Don't quite know how to describe this. Other than just good, really full-bodied. It's got this lubricating kind of, feeling in the mouth. The Mantang Hong number 2 is a little more drying, a little more crisp. This is a little more sweet. I'm not going to try to draw any kind of wine analogies because I don't really have I don't have much of a wine drinking background, but the Mantang Hong number 2 is definitely a drier tea. This is a much sweeter, more viscous one. And actually, I have to say that I'm enjoying this one a little bit more today. And I think that kind of goes back again to I think most people that drink pu'er, and I'm certainly that way, they're not looking for the ultimate pu'er and then they just want to just drink that forever. I mean, maybe one day I would come across that pu'er, but I really doubt it. Where I just, I think most people are drinking pu'er, and the reason that they drink pu'er is because they love the variety. It's like people who love food; they love variety. So, again, I can't. I think that it's interesting because one tea factory, yeah, they're different wet pile batches, and they're different grades, but although they share a lot of similarities, to me they're totally different teas, and I think that that's kind of the draw of pu'er, is that when you really get into it and you start to drink all these, and you try Mantang Hong Vertu, and you try Mantang Hong Gongting, and you try Mantang Hong Teji, and you try Mantang Hong Sanhao from 2014, you'll start to realize, like, oh, same fermentation master, same basically, where they source their raw material is the same, but the way the leaves are graded and blended back together again, the age makes a huge difference in the outcome of how the tea tastes, and of course storage as well. But storage, in the case of these teas that I'm drinking now, really they've been stored in the same conditions, so that's less of a factor. Nice dark. This is more got a burgundy, a little bit of a deeper color than number 2. But it's still quite clear. There's definitely no cloudiness in it. I wouldn't call it like soy sauce. It doesn't have that level of darkness to it. Go in here. Get this one loaded up. This almost, to me, has like a little bit of a coffee-like aftertaste to it. It's got a little bit of that kind of roasted, almost a roasted kind of dark chocolate, bitter in the aftertaste that I'm getting. It's got it does have a something kind of similar to coffee going on. I'd really be interested to hear if y'all want to leave some comments, people who have drank this tea or drank this tea recently. If you have any, love to hear your take on this tea as well. So definitely add some comments in the YouTube video if you have drank this tea, and share your experience, whether you liked it or not, and maybe any kind of things that you picked up in this tea. I'm always kind of not entirely the most descriptive. I get a lot of reviews from people who just, I think, just have incredible imagination. Not just imagination, but I mean, they're able to correlate the very imaginative, kind of creative aspect of themselves, of their minds, and relate that to the tea and what they get out of it, which I think is really incredible. And everybody's unique, so. It goes back to reviews. I think reviews can be really helpful, but they can also be, I don't want to say necessarily misleading, but they can be, I think, because everybody's experience of the tea is so personal. So, I would always, kind of remind people, say, okay, well, maybe, you read some reviews, this person liked it, this person didn't, this person was ho-hum on it. If you think it's something that you might like, just give it a try. Most of the teas, any of the teas that we offer that are over, $20-$30 typically have samples. So, try a sample and decide for yourself. Because the thing that I've found is so many people tend to, and I have so many people that enjoy teas that also just don't review teas too. But we like reviews. So, and you can leave reviews directly on the site. You don't actually have to wait for the review system to give you an email. You can just go directly to the site and review the tea on the product page. So. We have a Lucy interlude.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to give you a little. She loves it when the windows open. It's finally cooled down enough here. The windows open. She can monitor what's going on outside and be in her little day bed over here. What a sweet girl. It's funny because she stopped snoring. She was snoring just a minute ago. Really sweet, nice. There's a little bit more of a mineral taste coming out now too, which is interesting, which I wasn't getting as much in the beginning because the sweetness has faded a little bit. Like I predicted, like any Gongting, they're definitely the less infusible in terms of standing up to steepings, or in Chinese they say nai pa, which there is no real word in English. Infusible actually isn't a word. It's just a word that, I don't know if I made it up, but I just use it. And every time I see it, and every time I write it on my computer in a description or something, the autocorrect, the spelling comes up and underlines it with red. Infusible is not a word. Well, what am I supposed to say? Chinese, they say nai pa, which means nai is like nai xin de nai, or patience. Nai or nai kan means like if somebody's nai kan, that means they stand up to they stand the test of time in terms of like you spend every day with them and you enjoy looking at them. They continue to look good, as opposed to, so nai pao means it stands up well to being brewed. Pao is like pao cha, or brewing tea. So this tea 不奶泡，这个茶不奶泡. But it's good enough. It's not, 4 or 5 steeps or something like that. It definitely for a ripe pour, it's just less infusible. But the later infusions are far from unpleasant compared to raw pours, which some of the later infusions can become a little bit boring or a little bit overly astringent and lacking in other things. Whereas ripe pour tends to just, become sweet. And the mineraliness that we tasted in the last steeping is present in this one as well. It's quite pleasant. There's a sweetness to it. The mineraliness is faded a little bit, and the sweetness seems to be taking a little bit more center stage now. But it's very mellow. This is kind of headed out. It could do a couple more steeps, but I think we'll probably end it there. Again, Mantang Hong Gongting 2011. Check it out. It's $42 on yunansourcing.com. I think it's $44 on yunansourcing.us. Check it out. Samples available. It's a really nice tea. It's aged. It's got a really nice, cha-chi feeling. It's got good body, good taste, nice aroma. Definitely at least worth getting a sample of. So check it out. Thanks for watching.